Up until this point, we've been editing single images within Luminar. But now we're going to create a brand new library and import some images off a camera card as well as some images that are in a folder on our computer. Now, the important thing to keep in mind about libraries is that you can have multiple libraries. So I could have a library for my family photos and one for my work photos. I could have a library for each of my clients if I wanted to, or thematically have different libraries. So you can have as many libraries or catalogs as you want. Let's go ahead and create a brand new catalog and import some images into that catalog. To create a new catalog, go under the File menu, choose Catalog, and select New. You'll now get the option to name this catalog. So we're going to call this catalog Working with Catalogs. And I like keeping all of my catalogs in my Pictures folder. Now we're ready to add some images. And there's two different ways that you can bring images into Luminar. The first thing is to add a folder of images that are already on your computer. To do that, click on the plus sign to the right of the word Folders in your library. Navigate to the folder of images you want to add. There is a folder called Faces inside of Lesson 10, and I'm going to select this. And I'm going to click Add Folder. Now what I want to point out here is that when I add a folder of images to the Luminar library, the images are not moved. They stay in the location where you put them. All Luminar does is creates a library of those images. Now, if you want to bring images in off a camera card, the workflow is a little bit different. Go under File and select Import Images to a Folder, and then navigate to your camera card. And then within the camera card, select the folder that has your images in them. Now recall, when we added a folder, we left the images where they were. And this is not what you want to do with a camera card, because if you do that, as soon as you eject the card, the original images are offline. So what you want to do is you want to copy those images off the card onto your computer. Now, if you don't see the controls at the bottom, make sure that you click the Options button, and this will reveal the advanced controls. Now you can bring in the entire folder, or you can step inside the folder and just select the images that you want to copy off the card. And I'm going to just copy the first 6 or 8 images off this card. Now I can choose where I want to put these images. I'm importing them into my Faces folder. And I want to make sure that I copy my images. Now, if I click, I can choose to move the images, but I like to be able to archive my card separately. So I'm going to choose Copy Images. And then I can move them into one folder, or if I wanted to, I could copy them and have Luminar organize them into subfolders by year, month, and day, or just by year and month, so I can easily find images that I might be looking for based upon a specific date. Once I've made those decisions, I click on Import to Folder, and Luminar does all the work for you. Now I'm ready to view, rate, and tag my photos. And this is the first step in organizing your images to start editing. The first thing I like to do is choose images that I call picks, or my favorites. And to do that, I can select the image and click on the little heart, and that's going to say this is a favorite image or a pick. I can do the same thing by clicking on an image and clicking the P key, and that will also turn on the heart, and now that will be a pick. I can also choose to reject an image if I don't think I want to use it. Maybe it's out of focus, or maybe the lighting wasn't right. And in that case, I can hit an X key, and that's going to reject that image. So the first thing I like to do is a quick pass of images that I like as favorites, or I can reject them. Let's pick a few more. I like this one, I'll hit the P key. This one, not necessarily. This has potential, and I'm going to scroll down and maybe pick a couple of other images from the bottom. I like this one here, that's a nice pick, close-up of the face, and we'll also go with this image here. So now I've chosen my favorite images, but I can also refine the best images with a star rating from 1 to 5. I'm going to scroll back up to the top and go ahead and label these images how much I love them. So this one I think is really good. I'm going to give it a 4, and all I have to do is hit the 4 on the number pad and it gives it 4 stars. The next one I think is also a 4. This one I rejected. This one's okay. I'm going to give it a 3 by clicking on the number pad. The next one here I like. I think it has great potential. Instead of clicking on a number, I can actually click on the stars. I'll give this a 4. And let's scroll down to the other ones that were picks. I think this one's a 5. I'll hit the 5 key. This one is also a 5. And this one, it's pretty good, but just for the sake of giving it a new number, I'm going to give it a 2. So now not only have I chosen my images as picks and rejects using the P key and the X key, but I can also rate them on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being my favorites and probably the first ones that I want to edit. Now, a lot of people like to work with this grid view, but a lot of times I like to see the full image, and you can double click on any image to bring it full screen, and directly below you can see your ratings and your picks. Now, if you don't see your picks and ratings underneath the image, go to the View drop-down menu and click on Show Current Photo Actions. Now, the nice thing about working in this view is I can step through my images and still do ratings and picks. I can do that with the button on the screen, but I like to use the left and right arrow on my keyboard to quickly jump through my images and rate them. Now that we've rated our images, we're ready to start organizing and sorting our pictures.